but we're always glad to see you. Just a reminder that only members of the press club and the working press are allowed to ask questions. So we ask that you please adhere to that rule, that only members of the press club and the working press are allowed to ask questions during that Q&A session. We're happy to have Mayor Sharon Weston Broome, Mayor President Sharon Weston Broome, I should say. She was elected to office and sworn in January 2017 and became the first female ever elected to that position. Since that time, she has placed a heavy focus on improving the quality of life in the area. Her focus areas have been specifically in developing infrastructure, public safety, economic growth, and education, among many other areas. Before holding this position, she served in the legislature and became the first woman to hold the leadership position of Mayor Pro Tem in the House and in the Senate. She is a graduate of the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse and has a master's from the Regent University. Please help me welcome our Mayor President, Sharon Weston Broome.
Thank you, Michelle, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a great day in Baton Rouge, and I'm really delighted to be here this afternoon to speak. Before I get started, I'd like to introduce the business leaders who will also be speaking today on behalf of the MOVE EBR plan. Today, you will hear from Jennifer Dunphy with ExxonMobil, Preston Castile with Taylor Porter, Susie Saunier with the Hospital District, Edgardo Tenerio with the Baton Rouge General, and lastly, Jim Bernhard with Bernhard Capital Partners. We're also joined in the audience today by a number of business leaders and citizens from across the community, but we have individuals who are here from Crisis and BRAC who are here to show their support for the plan. I also want to let you know that we have had a broad cross-section of bipartisan support for MOVE EBR, which is a big plus. We've recently also been endorsed by organizations including the Greater Baton Rouge AFL-CIO, the GDR Industry Alliance, the Baton Rouge Growth Coalition, and from the mayors of Baker, Central, and Zachary. And of course, we're here today because there's no doubt that everyone agrees that Baton Rouge traffic has reached a point of crucial mass, of critical mass. Our citizens can no longer tolerate the extreme congestion and time delays that have steadily increased year after year. And so as we continue to experience job and population growth, it is crucial that our infrastructure moves forward. Our business community realizes that traffic is a significant quality of place issue, and a robust infrastructure is an asset in both economic development as well as talent attraction and retention efforts. And so the MOVE EBR plan, which we have been going around the community discussing for months, will invest $912 million to improve infrastructure and traffic in East Baton Rouge Parish through a half-cent sales tax. Of course, this will be the largest infrastructure, mobility enhancement, and traffic mitigation program in our parish's history. That's a good thing. MOVE EBR will provide a value of more than 3 times the program's cost. And if voters approve it on December 8th, it will be a major step forward in solving our traffic problems and positioning East Baton Rouge Parish for substantial growth. Through a sales tax, the cost of our road improvements is shared with everyone who does business in Baton Rouge. In fact, approximately 21% of the planned revenues will be generated by those who live outside the parish. The tax is proposed for 30 years, and of course the reason is that we can get bond projects out over an extended period of time, much like our own home mortgages. So this will also expedite projects and give drivers relief in the short term. The first projects will begin within 12 months of the tax being levied, and we anticipate completing completion of the majority of the projects within 12 to 15 years. But at the bottom line, what it's really about is the quality of life for the citizens in the city and parish. We want to give people their most valuable commodity back, and that's their time. I want to reiterate as I close that the funds collected to move EBR cannot and will not be used for anything other than the projects on this list. My administration, nor any other administration that follows me, will be able to switch out any of these projects. And it is illegal to move funds to do anything other than the pre-approved project list. You know, the job of mayor isn't about just governing for today. It's about governing for 10 to 20, 30 years, and even 50 years down the road. This plan sets up, sets us up for future success and growth as a city and parish. And that's why we have a tremendous amount of support for this plan from business leaders and community leaders and residents from every corner of this parish. And we hope that you will help us get out the vote. We need residents to go back to the polls one more time to voice their support for the parish-wide Capital Improvements District, or Move EBR. Early voting, of course, is going on now through Saturday, and Election Day is December 8th. I'm now going to turn it over to Jennifer Dunphy with Exxon, and at the end, we'll be glad to entertain your questions. Jennifer.
Thank you, Mayor Burns. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Dunphy, and I am the process manager at the ExxonMobil Baton Rouge Chemical Plant. And I'm proud today to be here to support Mayor Broome and the support of Move BR. As I think you are aware, our industry is growing. The petrochemical industry is growing significantly, and ExxonMobil plans in the future to invest over $20 billion in the Gulf Coast. And we want that investment right here in Louisiana, and especially right here in Baton Rouge. But for that to happen, one of the factors that they look at when they make investment decisions is infrastructure. And in order to get that development, to see that investment here in Baton Rouge, we need to improve our infrastructure. ExxonMobil has been a founding member of CRISIS. It's a coalition that's been working for many years to look at infrastructure improvement. And we believe this effort that the mayor has put forward in Move VR will lead us in that right direction. So I thank you for the support, and hope that we will continue to work with the mayor and work for ways to improve our infrastructure here in Baton Rouge so we can see that development for our industry and all of ExxonMobil. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to introduce Preston Catchell. He'll be up next. Sorry, Preston.
It's all right, Joe.
I knew I was going to.
Good afternoon. My name is Preston Castile, and let me first begin by congratulating and saluting the mayor and her administration on this very bold initiative. You've heard lots in terms of data and statistics, and you'll hear a lot more in the future in terms of why this is such an important proposition for our community. You know, I practice law in the city, but I wear lots of different hats. And so I drove in this morning to downtown Baton Rouge from my home in River Bend. And one of the things I noticed was a whole bunch of school buses near my building connected with the Mentorship Academy. And I thought about how this was going to impact not only the business community, but the education community. Because when you dig deep into that, those buses are traveling all across our city and all across our parish. That's affecting the bottom line of those schools, not only the Mentorship Academy, but every other public school and private school in our city. You know, one of the incredible data points that's on this particular board here is the amount of time that we spend in traffic. You know, what should take 10 minutes to get somewhere, it takes us 28 minutes to get across town. You know, this plan is going to allow us to get in and out of downtown Baton Rouge from other parts of the city within 15 minutes that we couldn't reach before. For me as a lawyer, that means that business and industry will grow. That means economic development will improve. That will be more business, frankly, for me personally as a professional in this community. You know, I've taught at both the LSU Law School and the Southern University Law School. And I started teaching at Southern about 17 years ago. And I would drive from downtown Baton Rouge in the afternoon, headed to Southern University. And I would spend so much time at that intersection at Harding and I-110. And the amount of time that was lost at 4 and 5 light cycles just to get to that destination, only to get to class and often see students that were also late because they couldn't get across town. Southern later opened an evening program, and likewise they were then attracting students from all across the state to come. But they likewise felt the burden of traffic problems. I later started teaching at LSU, thinking maybe it'll be better getting from downtown to LSU. My classes were 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What would take, again, only about 10 minutes, would take 20 and 30 minutes just to get to LSU from downtown Baton Rouge. When I look at, this weekend I had a great time digging into the maps and what was going to be improved in this plan. And if you get real geeky and wonky about it, you really have a good time, because you see all of these areas all across the city, North Baton Rouge, South Baton Rouge, and I have a client in Central that always gets stuck, and we always flip a coin because no one wants to go out to that particular client during the middle of the day only because of the traffic issues. And they don't want to come to us because of traffic issues. I hear these stories, and I've heard these stories all across the city for years and years. We can improve our traffic situation. We can improve economic development. So Mayor, I will tell you that it is incredibly delightful to see that we have this opportunity to improve our city in this incredible way. You know, some will say, well, this is not the absolute best plan. We don't want perfection, greatness to be the enemy of what can be a really good thing. And this is a good thing for our city, and I think that our children for years to come will enjoy. I think that, and I heard Jeff Kuhn say that, as a tax lawyer, you can't believe that he's supporting a tax plan like this, but he didn't see this as an expense, but rather he saw this as an investment in our community. And it's such a few dollars. In fact, it's only a half cent when you think about the investment and the potential return on investment for our community. Again, Mayor, congratulations to the business community. I look forward to joining all of you in voting for this particular plan. So, Susie, Sonia, you're up next.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Susie Saunier, the Executive Director of the Baton Rouge Health District, and I'm here today on behalf of Health District partners to express our support for MOVE EBR. Our healthcare partners include the Baton Rouge General, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana, Our Lady of the Lake, Mary Bird Perkins, Pennington Biomedical Research Center, Ochsner Medical Center, and Women's Hospital, and we all understand the critical importance of this initiative. While MOVE EBR is absolutely about traffic mitigation and economic development, as you heard today, it is also about health. The Health District is working collaboratively with healthcare providers throughout the community to ensure that people are provided with the best possible health care, and MOVE EBR is critical to our success. Whether you're facing an emergency and need to get to one of our emergency rooms as soon as possible, if your wife goes into labor and you need to get her quickly to one of our labor and delivery facilities, or as I face personally, you have a child who is in immediate need of health care assistance, the last thing you want is to be stuck in traffic. We know that minutes do matter in emergency situations, and having multiple points of access into the Health District and into our network of healthcare providers throughout the community are important. MOVE EBR will reduce emergency response times for EMS, fire, and police by improving congestion. Our hospitals who receive those patients see more than 307,000 emergency room patients annually and deliver more than 11,000 babies. We know it will reduce traffic for the more than 1 million patients who go to our facilities each year and their families, and the nearly 17,000 employees that are also impacted by these areas. Today, more than 55,000 drivers use Essen Lane between Perkins Road and the interstate, and more than 42,000 drivers traverse a similar section on Bluebonnet. The projects in this MOVE EBR initiative will impact that area, but also throughout the greater community, providing easier access with synchronization of traffic signals and road improvements and infrastructures throughout the community. And not only that, I just have to take a moment to mention the health benefits that are also included with new sidewalks and capacity that give people the opportunity to move around, to get out, and whether it's for their own wellness or whether it is to get to work. We know that that too is going to help us as a community improve our health outcomes. And so I thank you, Mayor Broome, for bringing this important initiative. I thank each of you that are here today, and I ask all of you to join us in supporting the initiative on November 8th. And I'd like to introduce Edgardo Tenrira, the CEO of the Baton Rouge General and one of our health district board members.
Thank you, Susie. You know, one of the things I've learned since I moved to Baton Rouge is that there are a handful of topics that if you're wondering in a group whether you can talk about or not, or whether you're going to have time to talk, and whether you're going to have an exciting time talking, you can always talk about football, especially LSU football, or if that fails, you can talk about traffic. And that second topic is really sad, you know, for me and for all of us in the health district. The press, you all have written the articles, you've read the studies, you've talked to the residents, and I'm not breaking any news here by simply saying that traffic in Baton Rouge is a problem. It's a problem that we experience in ways that other cities that are much larger than we are don't experience, and that's because those large cities have alternative transportation modes to the car. Here in Baton Rouge, we're primarily dependent on driving to get to our churches, to get to our hospitals, to get to schools, to get to our employment locations, to get to the LSU football field. And we need to get to the point where those alternatives are available to us. So I'm here not just representing the Baton Rouge General, I'm here representing the health district and all of the providers, hospitals and medical providers, but I'm also representing the Chamber of Commerce, and I chair a committee called Quality of Place. We're really, really excited about that. It's really taking a long-term view of how we can make Baton Rouge the city that we all want and desire. You know, right now, time is of the essence. And if you think about what happens when you have a heart attack, when you have a stroke, they say that minute matters. It matters to your brain if you're having a stroke, and it matters to your heart muscle if you're having a heart attack. It is unfortunate that you have to wait in traffic. The ambulance has to wait in traffic in order to get you to the healthcare provider of your choice. The only way that we're going to begin to build the Baton Rouge that we all desire is to invest in the infrastructure improvements that MOVE EBR provides. That is the way to go. You know, there are a lot of projects in from MOVE EBR that will be located near or around the health district. In fact, there are nearly $200 million worth of improvements that will benefit every single citizen of this community for decades to come. I'm going to mention three, not to get too wonkish on them, but I think it's important for you all to recognize what these projects are. Yes, they're not perfect, not everything is perfect, but we can't let perfection get in the way of improvement. So here are three things that are going to happen. First off, we're going to have a Dijon extension. That is a parallel road that is going to connect Bluebonnet with Essence, parallel to the interstate. And right now, all of the traffic that tries to communicate between those two roads is going through the core of the health district through primarily one road at the end because it's a funnel, and that is Picardy and Bluebonnet. That intersection of Picardy and Bluebonnet as the health district grows is going to become a major problem for the city in terms of accessing care. So that extension is essential. Right now, it's going to be built only halfway through. This tax is going to fund the extension of the road all the way through from the Children's Hospital to Bluebonnet. A second road in that program is going to be the what we call Midway. It's going to be a parallel alternative to Bluebonnet on one side and to Essen on the other that is going to connect us all the way down to Perkins. So imagine now these two major roads, Essen and Bluebonnet, with a third alternative in the middle. I think that's going to really, really improve the ability of all of you to get to the hospitals. And then finally, there are going to be major improvements funded for Bluebonnet, which includes sidewalks, it includes bikeways. In fact, it includes a connection, a way to connect the health district to the Breck bikeway that is being built. So I, for one, don't like increases in taxes, but I think that the only way in which we're going to be able to build the type of city that we want for ourselves and for our children, for our grandchildren, is to support this tax. And I'm tired of talking about traffic with my friends, family, and others, and I want to do something about it. And that's why I'm personally committed to support this initiative, and why we're doing a lot of work inside our hospitals to let our employees know, and the families of our employees, that voting for this tax is good not just for the health district, but also for this community. So thank you again for listening to my perspective. And now I'd like to ask Jim to come up here, Jim Bernhardt, and speak frankly about what he feels and how he feels about this tax. I'm certain that it will be quite entertaining. Thank you.
I'm the entertainment part, huh? Okay, guys. Thank you. Welcome to speak for condolences, whatever. It's being recorded, right? All right. You know, I first was going to do a little tongue-in-cheek here, kind of David Letterman's top 10 things while we call it the new bridge, everyday game day traffic, etc. But then I realized, I wasn't going to do that. It's too important. What I do now is, Bobby, I know from Charlotte, we're in a private entity business. We invest in communities across America. We've invested $1.5 billion. A lot of it has been in Baton Rouge. We've invested more money into the city of Baton Rouge than any company, including Exxon, in the last 3 or 4 years. We've created 5,000 new jobs. We have 18,000 employees. We own companies like Brown and Root and Epic and Bernhardt Energy. 2 of them will be Fortune 1000 companies in the next 36 months. We plan on investing over $5 billion. And we'd like some to be in that. It's difficult for us to attract industry without infrastructure and education. And I assure you, that's my knowledge and belief, I have created more jobs in this city than anybody that come in front of this mic or who's existed. Thousands of jobs. We hope to create another 50,000 jobs in the next 5 to 6 years. Hopefully, a lot of them will be here. We cannot do it without some ability to attract young people with education and a decent infrastructure. We cannot do it. It's not. We all need to gather up a little closer. Because it was important. I can't repeat that again. Jeez. Look, guys, look. Everyone here has a car, right? We know we've got to do something. Now, there are going to be people out there that are going to say, oh, well, we should have done this or we should have done that. Well, why don't they speak up for the last few years and say, let's do this? Okay? Because this is not a perfect plan. It is a good plan. But we cannot do a perfect plan because there is no such thing. Okay? We try to moderate the tax. I assure you, the last person who wants to pay more taxes is me. Unless Exxon does. Where? You volunteer there. Okay. All right. So, look, we knew the path moving forward is to fix our infrastructure. When I spoke a year ago to the Baton Rouge Business Report annual meeting, I said I was going to try to do 3 things. One, myself, and one of the big Republicans, so they couldn't say it was Republican or Democrat, myself and Mike Walpole We're going to try and reduce the murder rate in Baton Rouge, and I believe we're going to be successful on that. It was 107 last year. Last time we had 70-something, so we're going to have that reduced. I think everybody should be proud of the efforts everyone's put in here, including the media, to promote truth. I think that's going to be a good thing, that we will have less people killed in Baton Rouge. Second, we were going to have the city council allow people to vote whether they wanted more infrastructure. It was almost unanimous. Now, we have the opportunity to come out and vote and fix the infrastructure for our children. Most people here will not enjoy them over the next 10 or 15 years. It's not for you. It's for everyone else to come past you. And what better legacy to leave to your children? They won't have to ask why they call the bridge over here the new bridge, and why they call the St. Francisville Bridge the Audubon Bridge, because it ought to have been built in Baton Rouge. And we still will be able to use an interstate for interstate rather than intercity. So these are the things we need to do. And quite frankly, you know, I live in Baton Rouge, we invest money in Baton Rouge, and we could do what we do, invest in companies all over the world. We're the largest private equity company from Houston to Atlanta to Tampa, with no economic reason to be here except we love this city. Help us improve the city by bringing companies here, because if we're not able to invite people to our place, then no one will come. You ask me all the time, Jim, why don't big companies come to Baton Rouge? Why should they? Why should they? What great thing do we have to offer them? Now, don't hang your head and look bad, because guess what? We can improve, we can do better. And it starts with infrastructure, it starts with a less murder rate, and improving our university. Okay. Thank you, so I'm for it. Just in case you- Thank you very much.
So I want to thank everyone who has spoken, and now we'll take a few questions. If not, I have more I can say about this plan, that's for sure.
Erin McLean with WBRZ. Have you heard from Central residents? Do they feel like enough is being done for them?
Well, I will tell you, have we had meetings in Central? We've had one meeting to my knowledge. We're going back out to Central, I believe, tomorrow. And the current mayor of Central has certainly supported. One of the pluses about this plan, and there are a number of positives, is that this plan is touching every part of our parish. Every part of our parish will be touched. And many times one of the accusations has been around, you know, the involvement of politics in decisions. I can tell you that I have had council members who have come up to me directly and very specifically and said, while they don't have a voluminous amount of projects in their particular district, that they are certainly looking at this plan from the big picture. They see how it is going to impact the entire city and parish, and that has been very refreshing. This plan is touching every part of our parish, and that's a positive. Yes, sir.
Back to Central for a minute. Some of the projects very important in Central, such as widening Hooper, Sullivan, Wax, extending Sherwood up to Jewel. But some of these things have actually been in previous plans, like the pothole tax, and then the money didn't come through. So Central residents are concerned about whether these things will actually happen and when they will happen. Can you tell us when those things will happen in Central?
So, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Repeating the question. The question was, if I could paraphrase a little bit, a number of projects are identified in the Central area, Wax, Hooper, etc. But there is a concern among Central residents regarding whether we will do what we say we're going to do because of some past history. Is that pretty?
And when?
And when. So let me start first with the last question, when. We are first going to, and I have my transportation manager back there who can certainly speak more specifically to it, but our first goal is to deal with some of the low-hanging fruit from a parish-wide perspective, which deals with our traffic synchronization. Then second, before that, once the plan is approved, there will be a program manager who will be in charge of the prioritization of many of the projects. Undoubtedly, there are some projects that have already been established, which many of our projects, proposed projects, will connect to. So that makes sense, connecting to those projects that have already started. So that would be part of it. Now let's talk about the trust factor, because that undoubtedly is not only a narrative for Central, but just in general. I cannot reiterate enough that the programs, the projects that have been established on this ballot will be the only projects that will be done. And let me say, believe it or not, one day I will not be the mayor of Baton Rouge or president of this parish. And so no one will be able to tamper with the money, the established projects. It is illegal. I love our commercial, if you haven't seen it, one of them that's out, that shows the safe and the money locked in the safe. It can't be tampered with. And so that is something people need to know. And if there is a move afoot to do that at some later date down the road, then you can rest assured that it is not a legal move.
May I just follow up on that? Plan is for 30 years.
Yes.
So without a priority list that we know when the projects will be completed, some of these things like in Central could be long down the road. So that's what we're wondering.
Okay.
When would it happen?
Yeah, so that's what I'm sharing with you, is that as soon as the program manager is assigned, that program manager will produce a public list of prioritized projects. That will take place immediately. And so that will be for public consumption. People can see. In fact, I haven't discussed this with my traffic manager or director, but there is a program out there, when I say program, a technology program out there that is designed just for capital improvement projects just like this, which will show the residents the timeline, but not only the timeline, what's being worked on, when it's being worked on. You will be able to see it from geographically with maps. You'll be able to see it with itemized information. You'll be able to find out if you're going to be impacted because this road work is going on. So I would hope that we can implement that, Fred. I haven't talked to you about it, but the mayor's mind is always going, and I found out about this and thought it would be an excellent complement for transparency in this project, and so that the citizens, and guess what? The citizens in this particular format will have an opportunity to add information on what they see going on as the project is progressing. So I assure you that we will put in everything possible to give the citizens an opportunity to see, to know. Transparency will be there. Yes, sir.
Robert Burns with Sound Off, Louisiana. When Congressman Graves was here just before the July 4th holiday, he was asked about his thoughts on this tax, and he expressed some reservations about it and said he would really prefer to see a far more regional approach incorporating other parishes, and expressed some concern with each parish going off on its own may hamper efforts. I'm paraphrasing, but I have the video from him with regard to the constructing a new bridge. Can you address the concerns that he expressed in that meeting?
What's the question? I'm getting ready to say it, but it seems like my mic is gone out. His question was around a recent commentary when Congressman Graves was here speaking to the press club and discussed a regional approach versus a localized approach. Well, I don't have to see the video because I had a conversation with Congressman Graves this morning. And not only do I speak with him, did I speak with him this morning, but we have regular conversations as a mayor president and a congressman who works for our city and parish. And so I am on the same page with Congressman Graves and other parish presidents in the surrounding areas. The truth is, we not only need Move EBR, we need every other advantage to move transportation regionally. The good news is that this plan is going to serve as an excellent foundation for a new bridge or whatever other proposal evolves as in the future. So I'm on board with the regional approach. Right now, we're moving Baton Rouge and East Baton Rouge Parish forward, and what we do now will serve as a foundation for future projects, for future bridge, for other initiatives down the road. That's why this is an excellent proposal.
Well, then may I ask if you had that conversation with him this morning, did he reverse his stand and say that he now...
No, he did not. Listen, this is not about Congressman Graves. I'm gonna let him speak for himself.
Right.
I just told you I support a regional initiative. He supports a regional initiative, and we'll leave it at that.
Very good.
Next question. Yes.
C. Denise Marcel just recently came out and spoke out against the tax, calling it regressive and that you were working for the parish. Did you want to respond to that?
I would say this. The majority of the delegation has been on radio affirming and supporting this plan. I served as a legislator, as you know, for decades, and of course the whole issue surrounding sales taxes and the regressiveness of sales taxes often occur. But at the end of the day, there were legislators down at the legislature who supported sales taxes for the greater good of what needed to take place for the state of Louisiana. This sales tax will not impact prescription drugs, it will not impact groceries or utilities. Now let me tell you something else that is critically important. Last week I had the opportunity to share in a Thanksgiving dinner with a group of senior citizens. I think for peace of mind that 1/2 cents sales tax for peace of mind for the senior citizens that I visited with last week will go a long way when they find out that first responders may have better access to getting them to the hospital. When they find out that they will be able to get to their doctor's office, or if they have an emergency, that they don't have to worry about whether they're going to be stuck in traffic. Because contrary to some beliefs, EMS, ambulances, fire trucks, guess what? They get stuck in traffic too. And just as you heard from our medical professionals here, a matter of minutes can make a difference in life or death. So this vote is for everyone, including our seniors, who will benefit from this as well. That's my response. Any other questions? You can see how excited I am. This is going to be a game changer for our city and parish. And let me I tell people this, as I see people putting down their cameras this time, let me wrap it up perhaps. Let me tell you this. This is really not about, it's never about sharing Western Grove. Whatever we do for the city or parish, it's not about sharing Western Grove. It's about this city and parish. And I don't know about you, but I want to, I heard somebody say, I love Baton Rouge. I love Baton Rouge too. And let me tell you, my heart's desire is to see this city and parish progress, move forward, not be on the last of the list, whether it's transportation or education like Jim talked about. And to do that, we have to take some bold steps. Someone said to me the other day, they said, well, we've got an issue with this in the city, and we've got an issue with that in the city. As mayor and as the CEO of the city, I recognize the challenges we have. And as a leader, leadership dictates that you deal with the different challenges, not one at a time, but simultaneously. And so I'm dealing with transportation, roads, infrastructure. I'm dealing with our public safety. I'm dealing with our flood recovery. One thing doesn't get left behind because we focus on our transportation or Move BER. But the good news is we are moving this city in a positive, forward direction. And this program, this Move BER, is a critical part of it. I love what Jim said. It's not about Republican, it's not about Democrat, it's about people. That's what it's about. Is this my last question?
Mayor, I voted about an hour ago.
Oh, I have two questions. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
There was another proposal on the ballot having to do with the mental health center.
Yes, sir.
Have you left that one to paddle its own canoe, so to speak?
Very good question. He said there's another initiative on the ballot, surrounding the mental health facility. Have I left it out there alone? I certainly have not. Now, that's another good example of how we have a lot of issues at the same time that we have to juggle and we have to address. No, I've not left it out. In fact, if you will look back on some videos, you probably see me coming out strongly in support of that initiative back in November. So I support it. And they have a team of individuals who's escorting their plan through the process. And that's what we do. We delegate, we work on things simultaneously to get them done. And so I believe their group probably has been here to the press club, have they not been here? The folks that are really working behind the scenes, they haven't been here. Well, they've been around in a lot of places, but the mental health tax undoubtedly is important too. Any other questions?